Hello dear students, how are you? My name is Mazen. I'm a business teacher at Advanced Generation School. I teach accounting, business and economics. I have prepared a lot of PowerPoints for all business studies chapters, and I'll be explaining each chapter, and I'll upload all videos on YouTube so that you understand your chapters and understand the past papers as well. So I'll be explaining the lessons hopefully, and I'll solve past papers with you to teach you the way you can use to get an A star in the exam. Okay, so we'll start today with chapter 1, which is about business activity. As you can see, we have the syllabus points here. So I have the chapter which is business activity, and these are the points that you should know in this chapter. Okay, so the best way to know yourself if you're good in any chapter in business studies is to check the syllabus. So if you know these points in chapter 1, for example, so you're ready to be examined in chapter 1. Okay, so let's start. So chapter 1 is the base in business studies. It's a chapter that tells you general ideas about the business, its purpose, and we have two main things we'll concentrate on. I'll tell you the main points to concentrate on in this chapter. So first thing, you should know the business activity. So as you know, any business activity around us has a target, is to provide us as customers and consumers with a group of goods and services to meet our needs and wants. So any restaurant, any business, any company around us, let's say, their main target is to satisfy our needs and wants. Okay, just to compare here for those who don't know the difference between goods and services. So when I say goods, I mean what you can touch, like mobile phone, like a mouse, for example, laptop. Services, of course, you cannot touch, like banking, like insurance, for example, like education you get at your school. So you have to differentiate between them. We call goods and services, we call them products. The business might sell good, might sell service, or maybe sometimes both. Okay, the difference between needs and wants, it's clear that needs are essential for our life and we cannot live without. So always consider the things that you will die if you don't have them. I mean the necessities in your life, we call them needs. However, the wants are what you would like to have, or let's say your desires. So if you look here, we have a list to classify needs and wants. So of course my needs are my essentials, like food, like shelter, for example. However, my wants are many. You know, I have millions of wants now, right? But they are my desires. I can live without. Something very important you should understand in this chapter is called economic problem. When I say economic problem, I mean when we have a shortage in goods and services. So let's explain this point. Okay, so when I say economic problem, I mean there is a shortage of goods and services. So just think about it. If we want to produce goods and services, we need resources, right? So the resources that I need to produce goods and services are the land, the resources of the land, natural resources, the labor, their skills, I need the capital, the money, the machines and equipments, and of course I need someone who's willing to take risks to start up a business. So as you notice, in order to produce goods and services, we need these resources, right? So remember, our wants are what? They are unlimited, right? And these resources available here are limited. So natural resources are limited, skills of people as well, money and capital, and the people willing to take the risk to start up a business also, they are limited. So just to make it clear, when I say land, I mean the land itself and the resources. So remember, these resources are not unlimited. And when I say labors, I mean the people's effort, their skills. Of course, not everyone is skilled. When I say capital, I mean the money and machines and equipments, and of course they are limited. And when I say enterprise, I am talking about those who are willing to take risk to start up a business. And remember, not everyone has the skill and has the ability to take a risk. You should remember this. They will mix all the factors of production and they produce goods and services. So now we have two things. The problem is created because we have unlimited wants, but these resources available to produce are limited, and this what creates what we call in business economic problem or the scarcity. So the scarcity, when businesses are not able to produce goods and services that meet our needs and wants. So we have scarcity. Scarcity means rare. So remember, we have unlimited wants, but the resources are limited. So we have scarcity. Okay? Because we have this economic problem, we always have to choose. There is always a choice in our life, in anything. This will explain the next point in the syllabus, which is opportunity cost. So if I want to explain opportunity cost, it's very simple. Just think about two options. So let's say you're planning to go to the cinema with your friends, or you want to spend your money to buy a new book. Now you have two choices, right? If you choose one of them, the other will be your next best alternative, right? So for example, if I spend money on cinema or trip, if I choose cinema, then trip will be the next best alternative, which is given up by choosing another. So here, if I choose cinema, then the next best option is a trip. If I choose to buy a car or build a new house, so if I choose to buy a car, for example, building a new house will be my next best option. So we are always choosing. Remember, when I say opportunity cost, it's when you gain a benefit from a product or service, of course, and you give up another. So here, if I buy a car and build a house, if I choose to buy a car, then the opportunity cost is the new house. If the manager decides to buy machine A or machine B, if he decides to buy machine A, then machine B is the opportunity cost. So, for example, if you own a bakery, for example, the opportunity cost might be buying an oven, for example. If you have an oven, your opportunity cost will be buying a mixer, for example, or mixing machine. So it's the next best alternative or next best choice. This is opportunity cost. So now we know the economic problem and we know the opportunity cost. And let's say, one of the most important topics in chapter 1, and it's new from 2015, is specialization. It's very easy to understand. When I say specialization, if you are specialized in something, that means you are the best in something. So the doctor is the best because he's a doctor, he's specialized. The lawyer, the same. The teacher is specialized. For example, if I teach business, I am specialized in teaching this subject. When people and businesses concentrate on what they are good at, then I can say this is specialization. There is something, a part of specialization related to labors only. We call it in business division of labor. It's very simple. Imagine a person, for example, who wants to make a table. If this person is alone, he will cut the wood, he will assemble the table, he will polish the table, and then he will sell it. So can you imagine, he will do all these. So of course his production will be, of course, few tables, let's say 1 or 2 tables maybe per day will be produced. However, when the laborers are specialized and everyone is doing his own task, then the production will be more, of course. This is division of labor, when the production process is split into different tasks. So each worker will perform one of these tasks. So if we have a bakery, everyone will perform his own task, right? Like in McDonald's, for example, you see people in the lobby, others in the kitchen, others and the cashier, for example, others on the drive-through, and so on. So the good thing of division of labor, that if the workers are well trained in one task, their efficiency and output will increase. The word efficiency means when you do more work in less time. So if you are a professional worker in your task, you will do that job, of course, in less time. And of course, there will be less waste of time. Instead of moving from one task into another, everyone is specialized in his own task. However, imagine you are doing the job every day, then you might get bored. This is the main disadvantage of division of labor. And of course, if you are absent, for example, or you're sick, the production will stop. We'll see later on the solution that we'll have. We call it in business job rotation, where you should train all your workers to do all the tasks. So if someone is absent, you can replace them. You'll study this later in this book. Okay, this is for division of labor and specialization. This topic here, purpose of business activity, just understand them. They don't ask about them in the exam. Just know that we have 3 types of goods and services. Of course, when I say a consumer good, it's a product which is sold to a final consumer, to us, laptops and mobile phones, for example. And when I say consumer services, are services sold to people, like when I go to the bank, for example, insurance company, the school is giving me a service. And the capital goods are those goods, of course, I can touch, but they are sold from a business to a business. So for example, the school will buy a printing machine, they will buy it from another business. We call it a capital good because they are sold to businesses. Just understand them and understand the difference between them. They won't ask you about them. Okay, the last topic in this chapter, which is adding value. In this chapter, adding value and specialization are very important. So expect the questions about specialization and adding value. This is a very important concept to understand now, and of course we will use it in other chapters. That's why it's important to understand, because some students, they mix between this concept and the profit concept. The simple explanation of adding value is just the difference between the selling price of the product and the cost of the product. I mean the difference between the selling price and the cost of materials bought in. So it's very simple. If you want to build a house, you sell the house for $100,000, but you have a cost of materials, of course. So you have cement, you have wood, you have other materials. They costed you $15,000. So now your value added, as per the rule, will be selling price minus the cost of goods bought in and materials, of course. So now we have a value of $85,000. Someone will say, okay, this is my profit. This is wrong. This is not your profit. Why? Because you still need to pay workers. you still need to pay rent, electricity, and many other expenses. So after you deduct all these, you can say, I have a profit now. That's why added value is not a profit. It's not a profit. This is just the difference between selling price and cost of materials will give me the value added. Remember, this is a main objective of any business. I'll give you an example now. So let's take an example. For example, I'll take the businesses you always see on your daily life. For example, Al-Baik. Al-Baik is a very famous restaurant, you know this. Of course, their target is to add value. We have two ways to add value. As per the rule, if you look, selling price minus cost equal added value. So I have two solutions. Either I increase the selling price and keep the cost as it is, or decrease the cost and keep the selling price as it is. So I have two solutions. However, if you want to increase the selling price or make your customers pay a higher price, it's not a simple way. You cannot do this if you are not a well-known business, for example. So branding is one of the reasons. When you give your product a brand name, you will make your customers pay more, like Apple, for example. So Al-Baik, if they increase their price now by 1 or 2 riyal, every one of us will go and buy. Why? Because this is a brand name. They have an excellent quality. Of course, they have a brand name. They have an excellent quality of a chicken, and of course the materials used. They have a lot of products, and each product has different features. They always add features to their product, right? And we can say they are convenient. I mean, they deliver on time, they are fast, and so on. So if you want to add value and increase your selling price, you should have a brand. So let's say Gucci, for example, Apache for chocolate, Godiva, let's say also for chocolate, a lot of brands, Apple, Sony, Samsung. These businesses increase their prices because they give customers a good quality. They have a successful brand name and well-known brand name, and they always add features. So just think about it. If you go to the supermarket now, you see products always with the new features. Why they do this? To make you pay more money. So they just add features, for example, to mobile phones, new apps, new colors, and so on. So by this way, they add value. Another way that businesses can use is the reduction of cost. The reduction of cost is simple. You can search for cheaper supplies and you buy cheaper materials from your suppliers. And this point, of course, you will add value, but businesses usually take, let's say, take into consideration the quality thing. So I can decrease my cost. It's clear I can do this by finding cheaper supplies. However, I have to look if the quality is good. If the quality of materials is low, this will reduce the quality of my products. So Al-Baik now cannot use low quality, let's say the chicken or other materials they use, because they know that the customers will maybe refuse to buy these products. Okay, so remember, added value is not a profit. It's a target of any business around you will add value to make you pay more money. Okay, this is the concept of adding value, and it can be done by two ways. Okay, this is the chapter. The main points, as I said, specialization and added value. I hope you understood the lesson. I'll be explaining other lessons, as I said, and I'll solve past papers with you. Thank you for listening, and bye-bye.